I'm gonna show you some pictures, and this is very exciting because I told in my previous video we are gonna move from the theoretical abstract Hooga Booga theories basically, and we're gonna experience consciousness and how it manifests in you. And this is very exciting because we actually move away from the theory to actually seeing how the consciousness works. And this is very important that you get a pen and a paper, and if you don't have it, that's also fine. Um, but I want you to keep in mind that I'm gonna show you 5 pictures, and we're gonna talk about those 5 pictures and what you see um, in the 5 pictures. I'm gonna show you picture 1. I'm gonna show you for 10 seconds, and I want you to write down what you see during that time. And I'm gonna move to a second picture. I want you to write down what you see, and after 10 seconds, I move to a third picture, and so on. So we'll have 5 pictures we're gonna go through, and afterwards we're gonna talk about them. But before we start, I'm gonna tell you this is not a memory test. So when I show you the picture, this is not a memory test. And I just want you to write down what you see. So we are gonna start with the first pictures, and I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. I'm gonna show you another picture, and I want you to do the same. Write what you see. Okay, here's the third pictures, and I want you to do the same. Write what you see from now. Okay, we're gonna move to the fourth pictures, and I want you to do the same. Write down what you see. We have the last picture now. I want you to write down what you see. You have 10 seconds. Okay, I want us to talk about the pictures. Now I want you to take away your pencil and paper, or if you didn't have any, that's fine. It's still gonna talk through this, and hopefully you get to learn something, or learn something. Yeah, learn something. Okay, so I hope you have finished writing. While you were writing about the picture, without actually knowing about it, you were accessing different consciousness, different type of awareness, different type of um, processing information, digesting information. And we're going to talk about the 4 pictures. And as we run through, I hope you could give you more understanding about the different type of consciousness, and perhaps maybe even what you're using. And we're going to talk about the first bird picture, and I'm going to read to you what a person has described. And this person has used here extroverted sensing. He's an ISTP or ESTP. So, and he says here, this is a picture of a black and gray bird with a yellow-orange beak and a yellow eye. You have to keep in mind extroverted sensing or sensation is taking in information through your 5 senses. You smell, touch, hear, and everything that has to do with your senses. And he says here when he saw the pictures, this is a picture of a black and gray bird with a yellow-orange beak and a yellow eye. This is what we would expect from extroverted sensing. Is descriptive. What he sees is what he sees. He doesn't. Extroverted sensing does not form any associations with it. That's intuition, and obviously we use both. But anyways, he says the bird is facing to the left of the frame, and so he's also putting the bird in a position. Its feathers, especially on its head and neck, are sticking out from its body. So he says its feathers, especially in its head and neck, are sticking out from its body. Still, he doesn't form any association. He doesn't form any meaning behind why he's sticking out from his body. It's not to say he cannot do it, but he hasn't done it. This is purely extroverted sensing. The background is very light gray, almost white. There is nothing else for me to say about this picture. It's just a photograph of a bird. Some of you might have written the same things. Then you probably have accesses extroverted sensing. And like I said, extroverted sensing is through your 5 senses, and you can see from this picture, it's just fact, descriptive. What you see is what you see. What you see is what you get. We're gonna move into the towards the next pictures. I'm gonna see a different type of consciousness being at play, and this is introverted sensing. And this picture really have many things going on. There's many consciousness working here, but this guy is I think is ESTJ or ISTJ, and he has predominantly or secondary introverted sensing. And introverted sensing is taking in information, you know, through your sensing is about taking information through 5 senses, but introverted sensing is different because their senses are internalized. So when they see something, they color it from their past experiences. So they see something, it might remind them of their childhood, they might be reliving they might be feeling the same emotion as they did. So introverted sensing is about reliving something. Something what when they see details and everything, but it's colored by the personal subjective experience of that sensation. Whereas extroverted sensing, it does not. Extroverted sensing is just through your 5 senses. It is objective. It is fact oriented, the same as we saw with the bird. But introverted sensing is different because it's become personalized. The person has put something into the images which they have seen, but it's still it still senses. It doesn't wander around as intuition, as I'm gonna explain later on. So he's right here. Incredible, tangible, wet, explosive. This is pure the adjective even the person is using is wet, explosive, tangible, incredible. This is not abstract concept. Explosive, wet, tangible, incredible. This is not abstract concept. It's real life. He doesn't use here. He doesn't use word as meaning. He doesn't use word as association. He doesn't use word here as idea, which is more an abstract concept. And he says that my eyes are drawn to the spittle that flies from the flame and drips from his lower lip. My eyes are drawn to the spittle that flies from flame and drips from his lower lip. There is a tangible quality to it that allows me to re-experience the boy's experience. That's very important. Re-experiencing something is an introverted sensing thing, because it requires you to go into your memory store bank, reliving something. Even though this guy or girl is written it, hasn't experienced this himself, but he can use past experiences to get of understanding how that might feel. And as I said, as if every moment were slowed into perfect details. Introverted sensing are very detail oriented, and the same with extroverted sensing. It has to do with they're taking information through their 5 senses, so they are detail focused. So, and here it says, next I notice colors, the fire and headband, the contrast of his hair feathers and gleaming beads with a dulled cloth of the headband. Again, the tangible quality of the yellow cloth, the designs that pop up from it, and the phantom feelings under my fingers. He's totally reliving something. I can feel the raised stitching. Remember how it catches and gives under the pressure of my index finger. The boy in the red. When you use a function, if you use introverted sensing enough, it starts turning towards intuition, and that's what's happening here. And he says the boy in the red shirt turning in the background. He's disinterested. It's nothing to say that he's not interested. the boy is interested. You know, that's an association you have formed. Is this common? He's questioning, he's using thinking, but something so regular to be missed and not regretted. Probably not American, South American, somewhere where culture still has meaning and everything hasn't been inflated into. Okay, I'm not gonna go there because he's coloring other consciousness. Like I said, we all use different consciousness, but the driving force of one consciousness or two consciousness actually form your personality, in a sense, your identity as well. And I'm going to show you more pictures now, and you can just see how introverted sensing are different from extroverted sensing, because the bird pictures, it was purely descriptive, no reliving in it, no nothing such as I remember when I was a kid I saw the bird and it made me happy. That would be introverted sensing. But the first picture was just purely descriptive. The bird has a yellow beak and black color and so on, only facts. But introverted sensing, the sensation has been personalized because it's subjective. It's inside the person. The psychic energy is moving inside the person and it stays there rather than objective. It's not sort of married to the object. So it's getting personalized with feeling, emotions, and the coloring of the person's understanding of the information. And I'm gonna go to the picture of the house. This is really interesting. This is intuition. I know this person writing this has INFJ. INFJ is dominant introvert intuition, but from just this description, you can't really say if it's introverted intuition or extrovert intuition. We can say it's intuition. And intuition is taking information through abstract means. It's not through your senses as we just saw. It's abstract means. So they form relationship, they form pattern, they form connection with the information. They see the big pictures. They are not focused on the detail. Actually, they married away, they divorce away from the detail, and just to focus on the connections, because that's how they understand through meaning and symbols and so on. But anyway, this girl writes, the first thing I thought when I saw this one was a broken soul. A broken soul represented in a broken house. This is pure symbolic. I mean, the first thing I thought was this was when I saw this was a broken soul. A broken soul presented in a broken house. And I'm gonna not say so much more about it, but you can see that the house, introverted sensing or extroverted sensing would see the house and describe the house. Extroverted sensing would describe what they see. They see a tree. They will look at all the details, like things people don't usually notice, detail wise, because their focus is there. Introverted sensing will start reliving something perhaps during their past experiences and so on, or at least they will personalize in the house, but they still be concrete. They still remain, in a sense, remain true to the senses. But intuition does not. I mean, the house isn't even valid anymore. The first thing I thought when I saw this one was a broken soul. The house has become a soul, a representation of a broken soul. And this person obviously has used extroverted sensing, because extroverted sensing, in order to see the picture, you would have to use extroverted sensing. But it marriage away from the object. Or at least from the senses, in order to form a representation, which is an abstract representation of the object. I'm gonna move towards the. Oh, this is beautiful. I mean, this is from an INTJ, and actually, I got the permission to use this one. The other ones I haven't asked because long story. Anyways, but this one I managed to ask permission. And this is introverted intuition. This is from an INTJ, and I remember when I said about INTJ before, is that when they take information, it's intuition, introverted intuition. So they're taking abstract ideas and personalized it, or not also that. They also try to understand universal truth. Introverted intuition is about understanding universal truth through symbolic means, and they also form patterns and connections, and Often with dominant introvert intuition, they get insights in which they cannot really explain where it's coming from. And see what happened when he see this picture. He says, I know it's a spider web. So he used extroverted sensing. I know it's a spider web, but that's not where my thought initially went when I saw this. And that's the thing. When people using introverted intuition, they probably use extroverted sensing first. They see the object, but they are more interested in what the object elicit within them. They are not interested in the object itself. The object itself is just a representative of an idea which is they are gonna be informed inside their brain or their consciousness. So it says, I know it's a spider web, but that's not where my thoughts initially went when I saw this. I in fact saw something much more esoteric in the nature as I see the interconnectedness of life itself. Introverted intuition is synthesizing information, is taking in information, synthesize it to form a theme of a sort or a conclusion, if you like. And it says, in nature I see that he is from a spider web, a picture of a spider web with rains. He has seen interconnectedness of life itself. And now you can see how people are so different. You have introverted intuition that see life through this way. I mean, just this is not even, it's just beginning. What strings us and everything together. And it says this is starting sound to sound so ni because this person is type knowledgeable. He's really knowledgeable, I think, about type, and so he knows what is going on, but he realized it while he's writing. I also kind of see it like a system. Remember, NT, a system thinker. Anyway, I see it like a system of sort with all those drops as pulsing nodes of light. It's symbolically beautiful to me. There's abstract meaning in it. I see it deeply embedded into the world on a highly esoteric level. It's deep within, but also surrounding us. From a spider web with rain, the person sees interconnectedness of life, how everything else related together, how people are. I mean, I mean, I mean, you can understand in communication how we are differently, and you can see, what is reality in a sense. Is this information from an INTJ, INFJ, introvert intuition, what you just saw now, is it as valid as your senses? How? I mean, that's a point. You can discuss that, but obviously it is a valid. Is this a way of gathering information, and that's why INTJ, INFJ are known to forecast the future, because they see things interconnectedness, how everything is related. So when they see an object, they can see how it is related to everything else. And obviously, if you have a spider web and you do something with the spider web here, it will have a causal effect towards the other part of the spider web. So what happens is, because when they see an object, they can see how everything is related to other parts and other ideas, or other objects for that sake. And when they do that, that's why they can, in a sense, forecast the future. And that's one way. There are other ways as well, because they are feeling the vibes from one object, and how they are feeling the vibe because they see how everything is connected. Um, Introverted intuition has more of often not knowing where the insights come from. Is very unconscious in that sense, unlike extroverted intuition. So, but they can sometimes trace explanation where they get the insight and how it's all related. But introverted intuition has problem doing that, and also that the thing is that the introverted intuition is like a dream, and for them the dream is very clear in their head, but explaining a dream can be very difficult, and that's why introverted intuition don't really often you know. Say where they're thinking, because they will know people will find it weird. If you're introverted, um, if you have I and intuition in your letter code, it only exists 25% of the populations, so people often misunderstand them, but they are they are INTJ are known to be statistically one of the most No, I won't go there, I think. But anyway, so yeah, okay, I'll stop there. I'll go to extrovert intuition. This is the last picture. Extrovert intuition is also intuition, so it's also forming abstract meaning, but it's objective, it's extrovert, it's towards the object. What's different from introvert intuition and extrovert intuition? Extrovert intuition brainstorm ideas, basically. They form pattern relationship. So what happens is that, for example, a person using extrovert intuition, when they see an ant field or something, they look for pattern. Are the ants going in in pattern? Are they forming triangles? Are they forming squares and so on? They see pattern, and that's why extrovert intuition are really good with stock markets. And because stock markets, you can see that how, for example, less cars are connected with probably, maybe, let's say, um, high oil prices and so on. But and the thing is that extra intuition does this connecting things and dots really naturally. I mean, they can see the road outside and connecting how the world is doing right now. They can see a commercial and understand sort of where the future is heading, because they are connecting all the dots. And I know it sounds weird for people that use sensing, and it's weird for them to hear this, because it's not that they don't have intuition, they have it, but they don't use it as much. Their understanding of it is different than a person has driving force, dominant driving force with intuition. Their world is, in a sense, different, because, like I said, they're living through symbolic means, through forming pattern associations. But anyway, these pictures, and the person here is ENTP, and he's a bit funny here, because I see he writes there, I see the internet converted into industrial material world. I see pigs and hear Pink Floyd music. He's forming already. It's a funny association. You can't, in a sense, take it seriously. But really, what's happening is extrovert intuition, forming relationship towards other objects and so on. Forming relationship which is not often very obvious, but still objective in that sense. You can trace the information. I see the internet converted into industrial material world. I see, I see pigs and hear Pink Floyd music, and there are zombies everywhere. The temperature is mild, and there are not many supplies left. And someone is playing basketball in the background. It is 10 years since the infection. You can see, intuitive people. They live towards the future. They have hard time living in the present as sensing people, because they're primarily processing information. Their primary use of consciousness is that, when they're using intuition, is that it's projected towards the future, because it sees pattern and relationship. So they're future oriented. So they skip through details. Sensing are very present oriented, and even introverted sensing uh, are even past oriented. And it has to do with, for them, the, they are aware of now, what is important to them, what they value, is really the information coming in now. And because they are not forming as much association and relationship and projecting towards the future become less relevant. And that's why the sensing can really know how to live the day. I mean, from morning to evening, they really know how to utilize the day. Extra intuition, things they do now is often related to the future, and when they have come to the future, they start relating to another future. So what happens is that their mind is set towards the future. I'm gonna stop there. I don't know how much I've been talking, but I hope it shed some light about your consciousness. And remember, I just talked about 4 ways of taking in information. There are 4 ways of making decision. And next, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna show you when consciousness mold towards each other, how they color each other, and then you'll even see another complexity of layer in how people think. But um, I'm just gonna say that now I hope you start to understanding why people are different. When they see the same book, they read it differently. They have a different understanding of it. Your interpretation is not necessarily right. It's just one of many interpretation, and everyone is more or less, you can say, right or wrong. Um, and often their conclusion can often not or be the same, but and we all use all different way of making taking information I'll talk about, but you have control just of one of them. Really, the other one you won't have as much control. It's more like you have less awareness about it, and it's more often actually controlling you in a sense. So please, yeah, you can take this into your relationship or into your other, yeah, job or whatever, and see that how we are different, and so we can start sort of reconciling the differences and accept each other for who we are. So thank you for now, and I'm gonna stop it now, and sorry for the long talk, but it was necessary. Thank you.